continue with the Grundwissen über die Deutsche Phonetik, and we will deal with the Suprasegmentale Phonetik. Like it was briefly mentioned before, the Suprasegmentale Phonetik deals with the melody of the language, the speaking speed, the tone, the accent, the rhyme, basically the rhythm with which we speak, and the structure. We will shortly look at the details of the individual aspects, starting with the melody. So this is basically Ton, Höhenbewegung, basically how much the tone goes up and down. So if the tone is rising or falling when you hear it. The second aspect is accent in sentence. This is basically the Betonung of the word in a statement. So in this example, we have Ich gehe mit euch zum Bahnhof. So in the first sentence, you have the emphasis on the Bahnhof, meaning the Sprecher wants to go to the Bahnhof. If it's alone or with anybody, doesn't matter, but he wants to go to the Bahnhof. In the second example, euch, so this, when the tone and the accent has got an emphasis on euch, it basically means that the speaker wants to go together. He doesn't want to go alone. And then with the mit emphasis, basically it is that he wants to go together. And then you have ich gehe, meaning the speaker wants to go. It doesn't matter if he wants to go with a car or by foot or by public transport. It could be anything. The third aspect is Akzentierung im Wort. Basically, in one word, if the accent varies, then that's what this aspect is all about. That's why it is said it is valid for mehrsilbiges Wort. So typical examples are like trennbaren Verb. So for common, in this case, for common, the emphasis on the for, and by nicht trennbaren Verben wird then Stamm betont. So typical verb will be entstehen. Then what else we have as an example? Arbeiten, etc., etc. Now moving on to the next slide, we have the aspect of rhyme or rhythm. So the definition basically says a timely structural Gliederung. Gliederung is basically dissection of the spoken language. This rhythm is actually due to the long and short and the high emphasis and the low emphasis of the syllabin, maybe vocables and consonants. And this is achieved through pauses and the melody. So the melody is responsible for the toning aspects of the individual syllable. Then we have Pausen. They are basically that characteristics which will help us to divide the sentence. This can be recognized using Satzzeichen like a colon, semicolon, etc. It influences the meaning of a sentence. This we can see with an example. So here we have two sentences which have the same words. So in this case, let's take the first one. Christian will, Monika nicht. So this basically says that something Christian wants and Monika doesn't want the same thing. And then you have a sentence where Christian will, Monika nicht. This basically means that Christian doesn't want Monika anymore in his life. So this is how a simple comma changes the meaning of the sentence. Moving on to the next slide, we have then the Segmentale Phonetik. It basically concentrates on the vocabulary and the basically the, to be more specific, it's vowels, consonants, and how they are being produced. So you can categorize this into vowels and consonants. So you have vowels which can be produced at the front of the mouth, the center of the mouth, and at the back of the mouth. It can be either strong or strong lifting of the tongue. It can be either long or short. On the consonant side, we have different positions where you can build consonants. The aspects are like some consonants are basically from the nose. So M has emphasis on the nose part. Plosive is P, where it's like an explosion. Fricative, F, F. And then you have stark, it's basically P, F. They have like strong emphasis. Then you have schwach, say less emphasis. It's called as leanness. It's B, V. And this particular picture in the book explains the different positions. This is basically for the understanding. The main thing is basically the Artikulationsart and the Artikulationsort, basically the position and how you pronounce these consonants. Moving to the next slide, we have the Übungsschwerpunkte. So we have a common statement which says that die Aussprache definiert die Bedeutung eines Wörters. A word meaning is basically defined by how you speak it out. So the following points need to be extremely taken care of when you're doing a phonetic Übung. So first one is basically the suprasegmentale aspect. It's basically the melody, the accent, the rhythm, and then you have the pauses. And then you have the segmental aspect for the vowels. It's a long or kurz, short, and correct Bildung, the way you articulate your mouth appropriately to generate the sounds. And then reduziaten vokalem Wortende, so Aussprache. That's it. You don't really emphasis on the vowels at the end of the words. Moving on to the next slide. Then we have segmentale phonetik with respect to the consonants. So like we previously discussed, it's the difference between a strongly spoken consonant and less strongly or a weakly spoken consonant. Ich und ach Laute, how we are pronouncing in ich and an acht. R Laute, so fahrer is basically a strong emphasis on R, aber fahren is basically a less emphasis on the R. And then you have the ang Laute. So these are the different aspects of consonant segmental phonetic which needs to be taken care of. And then you have the writing and the speaking out part of it. So a typical example is the I in wir und wie. They are written the same way, but when you speak them out, the I in wir is longer as the I in wie. So wir and then wie. So that's how you are describing the Aussprache und Schreibung.